Gentrification is a very commonly used and very controversial term. This is partly because the things it refers to tend to have complex and deeply negative effects on families and neighborhoods, but it's also because people often mean very different things when they use the word. Researchers have defined it in multiple ways in order to try to measure it, raising a host of judgment calls that can lead to large differences in the conclusions. But even before you get into those details, there are some big differences in what people mean when they say their own neighborhood is gentrifying or that they fear gentrification. Here are four broad categories. Some people are referring to direct displacement, which is when housing costs are rising so rapidly in a place that was once low cost that longtime residents have to leave their homes because they can no longer afford rents and property taxes. Some people are referring to a feeling of being replaced. When housing costs rise rapidly in a particular place, even if direct displacement isn't widespread, the incomes of those moving in are higher than the incomes of those moving out, changing who can access the neighborhood over time. Gentrification can also bring with it cultural displacement. When a place that was largely a community of color, particularly an area to which people of color were once restricted to, experiences an influx of whiter, more affluent residents, culturally relevant or welcoming institutions and retail may be lost. Power dynamics may also shift, such as increases in 911 calls for trivial matters or wider leadership in groups like PTAs. Other communities that have experienced disinvestment may see a flood of new investments, but ones that target the newer, more affluent residents rather than the existing ones. This can take the form of new charter schools, electric vehicle charging stations, and other high-end amenities. Oftentimes we see several of these aspects of gentrification overlap, but they can also appear separately. Some of them are less common than widely assumed, others may be more. As Shelterforce, we're trying to avoid ambiguous uses of the word and instead push ourselves and our writers to be more specific about what they mean. We hope you'll think about which definition is at play when you hear or read or use the word. To explore these questions more deeply, visit us at www.shelterforce.org.